So now we move to the luxury end of the Brickell market, the $2 to $3 million, the 3 to 5, and the 5 above. And we're standing here in the sales office for Flatiron, appropriately an Ugo Colombo project at the high end of the market. So, Faye, looking and discussing, as we have done before, the key indicators within the markets, months of inventory being our big one that we focus on. What have we seen in the 2 to 3 million range? And what are we missing, and what's it telling us?
In the 2 to 3 million market, there are 41 active listings. There are 8 units sold in the last 6 months. And
that means, exactly, I mean, months of inventory, it equates to 30 months of inventory.
30 months.
What are we missing on that? Because when we analyzed and we sat down with the head of the sales here in this building, and just alone in the building, what are we seeing?
I think because we analyze and the data we have is the MLS, we need to really look at what the developers are doing into that range that we're analyzing. And in that range, here in Flatiron, they have units that in the 2 to 3 million, the high-end units, and only one person sold more than what has been shown in the MLS, more than 8 units in one single building.
The appetite for the product purchased in the 2 to 3 million range is not coming on resales. It's coming on new product, on pre-construction. Flatiron, probably the primary building to account for those sales. Outside of that, you have Una, and on the other side of the water into downtown, you have Aston Martin building.
Correct.
Let's get specific about the buildings on the resale so people can understand, because all too often the data is too abstract to really make sense or be useful. So the buildings that are moving on the resale market, give us the buildings, give us the names.
Always the same buildings. Santa Maria, Four Seasons, Asia, Carbonell. Those are the buildings that are getting sold. Buildings that are well built. They hold better the market value, and those are the ones always on the range that we see on the MLS. We see a constant in buildings that are well built.
So what's interesting, when you look at the new product, the stuff that gets really kind of crushed at the lower end, it's built differently. It's built almost what we call like a beehive model, where you get lots and lots of cells. When you get into the Santa Marias, the Bristols, the Jades, the Four Seasons,
correct,
you've got a much lower density of product. You've got much bigger units, much fewer units, much more what we call primary living environment. You don't find owners want to live all year round with their families in a 12, 13, 14, or even 1,500 square foot unit. But 2,500, 3,000, 3,500, or even more, yes, all day long, you'll get primary residents in that core. When you get into those who actually want to rent, again, rental markets tend to be quite fragile, and we've always said this. The number of rentals that we've had, how many rentals did we have in the 2 to 3 million range in the last 6 months?
Only 8 rentals occurred, and there are 9 more available for rent. The building that has rented most was Brickell, and we came to a conclusion that that building rented, those units rented because those units were always also for sale, and they had to decide on waiting in the market on putting out for rent, and those units rented. So rental
out of necessity is really, long story short. So we're seeing some pretty big discounts at this range as well.
Big discounts. Newer buildings, we're talking up to 35% discount in the newer buildings from new construction. And there are buildings that hold better value. It's harder to negotiate, but we've seen discounts, and we can work on negotiation